Hello everyone, welcome home. I'm Jarrell. I apologize for not being around that often the past couple of weeks or the past couple of months. There's some messages people have left and I apologize for not getting back to you. Work has been pretty crazy the past couple of months. Work has been insane. So I will try to get back to messages that I have not answered. I do want to reply to you. And I will be uploading videos regularly now that my work has settled. I no longer have an insane schedule to keep up with work, and I will be sharing instrument modifications, instrument reviews, and my Monday night jams. So thanks for checking in. Today I want to share with you my review of this mysteriously unbranded, what was labeled as a pocket ukulele, but this is actually a Sopranissimo ukulele. I was actually looking for a sopranino. So you have your soprano ukuleles, you have your sopranino, which are smaller scale, and your sopranissimo. So I believe this guy, I've measured it a couple times, and it's somewhere between 11 and 11 and a half inches. 11 inches scale length is sopranissimo. I think 11 and a half is sopranino. And this guy he's really fantastic. Let me play a little bit for you. This fun little fella is tuned to D-G-B-E, whereas a standard soprano ukulele would be G-C-E-A. So just to compare the ranges, there's multiple ways you can tune this fella. You can tune him other ways as well, but I like to have it in this register because I want as different a register as possible from a soprano, and I want to be able to hit that higher register with ease. So I'll compare my favorite soprano ukulele, this Mahalo Alien ukulele, which actually has a pretty big resonating surface, which gives it a nice warm timbre. So I quite like this one. So here we go. And just for comparison, there's your soprano and your sopranissimo. Right, so first, before I get into my review of this little fella, you might be asking yourself, why wouldn't you just put a capo on a soprano ukulele? Well, you won't be getting the benefits of having a dedicated instrument which has a timbre perfectly suited and designed for that register. You're going to get, if you capo this guy, you're just going to get the same timbre, and it doesn't contribute to the textural complexity and depth of an ensemble. That you're just playing a soprano ukulele at that point, and you're putting the capo there. So you're foregoing the benefits of having a sopranissimo. So the benefits of having a sopranissimo or a sopranino, they're pretty similar in scale length. The benefits are a brighter, sweeter tone, and timbre, and that is because the scale length is shorter. In general, you have a smaller resonating surface on the top, so you will have just a brighter voice. The benefits you get from this fella are you're adding textural complexity and depth to your ensemble. This is not an instrument that you would play on its own. I mean, you could, but there isn't much point to it because it's not designed to be really played on its own. It's designed to add more complexity to your overall texture and your performance. So this pairs very nicely when you have other ukuleles, especially if you have your soprano and your tenor and your baritone. They'll all just go very nicely together, and you have this little fella filling in the top end. It brings a sparkle to your ensemble. So that's why you would want one of these. And putting a capo on a soprano ukulele, again, you can play in the register, but you're not getting the benefits of playing an actual sopranino or sopranissimo. You really get that much more depth in the texture, and it's just interesting, and it's a bright sparkle that you're not going to get any other way. So I will get to my review of this instrument. I believe I paid around $75 US. I found it on eBay, and I was extremely lucky because I've been looking for a sopranino for a very long time, and they're very difficult to find. There are some brands that produce them, and they're not generally reviewed so great. And they're quite rare as well, so you get higher into the price range and what have you. And then at that point, is it worth it, the price that you're paying? Do you really want to pay that much for what amounts to being able to add a little bit of sparkle to an ensemble? Do you want to pay a few $100s for that? I paid around $75 US. I'll have to double check, but I think they're out of stock. So I'm very fortunate to have picked this guy up. It came with this little nylon carry case. There's no padding, but it will protect it from scratches. So it came with Aquila Nylgut strings, these generic worm drive geared tuners. Nothing fancy about them, nothing special, but I do very much like the color of the knobs here. I've got to loosen this. It looks like there's a bit of plastic here fell out of the tuner, the spacer there, so I'm going to have to loosen that and slip that back in there. So that's already one minor manufacturing fault that I'll handle that later. So this is, I was looking at this, I'll have to double check the luster, but I believe this is actually a bone saddle. I was quite impressed with that. And this is actually a bone nut. These are not plastic, these are carved bone, which I was very impressed with. The build quality is shockingly good. I did not expect this level of build quality. I believe this is actually, they listed as a spruce top, and I believe the rest of the body is, off the top of my head, it's what a lot of the Acklot and Kami's ukuleles at entry-level prices. It's the same material as those. It's just slipped my head. It slipped my mind off the top of my head. I'll post it in the description. I've forgotten what that is. So, but they do list it as a spruce top, and it is solid. I'm looking at the cut here, so it is a solid top, and the saddle is just some cheap wood. It's nothing Nothing too fantastic, or the bridge, but you can see that the strings slot in. So they are slotted. You tie a knot on those strings and they slot in. So I've had this for a few weeks now. It's tough keeping it in tune, but I also have not been playing it. But just today, it seems to have stabilized since I started playing it earlier today. So I'm quite happy that it's finally stabilized. There's no maker sticker in there. There's no badge on the top. But it was listed as a pocket ukulele. I can't post the link because they're out of stock. But try searching for pocket ukulele, and maybe online you'll find this 11-inch scale length Sopranissimo ukulele. I'm sure they'll say it's a children instrument, but this is not a toy. This is not strictly for children. The intonation is actually quite good. I'm shocked at how close the intonation is. This appears to be a rosewood fretboard as well, but it has not been treated in any way. So what I'm going to do after I remove the strings, I'm going to oil this up and let that soak in the oil just a bit. So the tonal fortitude, as I describe it on other instruments, is very weak on this instrument. You have a very small resonating surface on the back and a small resonating surface on the top. So any contact this makes with your body will adversely affect, people say tone, but the more accurate tone is timbre, but I call it tonal fortitude. You could say timbral fortitude, but it doesn't roll off the tongue, does it? So that's pressed up against my body here, my torso, as it were. If I bring that away from my body, of course it's very difficult to play because now this fellow's moving around. So I need to figure out a way to comfortably hold this fella. So my recommendations on who this would be for, if you play with other ukulele players, if you play music together in groups, ensembles, if you're in a band and you're looking to add sparkle to your group sound, your texture, I absolutely recommend this for the price that I paid. Again, probably around 60 or 75 US dollars. I'm thinking of the Australian dollars that I paid, but the US dollars is probably closer to 60. 100% I recommend this. It's a beautiful instrument. The manufacturing quality is really nice for the price that I've paid. You see a join here on the heel of the neck there. You see a join. You see there's a scarf joins higher up. It's weird. Normally you'd see them down there, but that's carved there, and then there's a scarf join just up there. It is visible, but not in an unpleasant way. It doesn't personally bother me. It may bother some other people, but the gluing is tight. There's no binding, so it's just the back just glued to the sides, no binding or anything fancy. For the price that you pay, that's really a luxury. Mosquito there. There's no rosette. There is no pin for any straps, so I think you would want to use those ukulele straps that has a little plastic hook that sits there, and then I might pick up one of those. So you wear it like a lanyard, it sits underneath there. I might pick up one of those, and that would make it reasonable to play. So I think I'll look at that. Now, would I recommend this? Absolutely yes, if you want to play this with other musicians. This isn't something that you would enjoy just sitting around and playing by yourself. It has a sound that's difficult to sing along to as well. So I actually purchased this instrument specifically because I wanted to convert it into a piccolo mandolin. So I will be fitting a tailpiece onto here, and I will be adding extra tuners. So I'm looking for space here. It's going to be real difficult. I think I'm going to have to add the tuners here, and they won't be geared. So that's going to make things very interesting. So they'll just be friction tuners. I'll be able to barely fit two down here and two up top, and that's because I spend more time as a mandolin player, playing the various instruments in the mandolin family, and I'm not in any ukulele clubs, So this instrument really would not benefit me in terms of performance. But having played this, I am searching for a second one because I want to have one to keep just as a Sopranissimo ukulele. It's quite charismatic. The sound really sparkled. It's really fantastic. I love the timbre of this guy. It's quite sparkly. I'm really happy with it. The only setup that it requires is the action on the nut side is a bit high. So that's quite high. The saddle is also a bit too high as well. So the timbre is actually suffering right now because this is so high, and I'm fighting against what the strings want to do. So these also don't have slots cut into them, and so I'm losing a fair bit of vibration to sideways movement as they're slipping on the saddle. And it's good to have slots on your saddle so they can really grab the string and transfer the vibration to the top. This doesn't have that, so this would sound even better. It would sound much stronger, brighter, a better projection. If I had slots cut onto the saddle, I would lower the saddle height and I would file down the slots a bit so the slot nut height would not be as high. Right now the action is too high, and it is also negatively affecting the intonation because of that as well. So that's just minor setup. So purchasing this instrument, even if you don't do that, even if you don't do any of that setup yourself, this is still a playable instrument. It's still comfortable to fret. Doing chords, pushing down is comfortable. The only challenge you're going to have is that the neck is so small. Let me go ahead and compare that to my favorite soprano. You can see the neck sizes in comparison. Let me sort of put them as close together as I can, and you can see the neck sizes, the neck width, as it were. Let me set them side by side, and you can sort of see where they are. And that's, I don't know if I'm conveying this very well, but you can see it's significantly thinner. It's quite a narrow neck. I have the actual measurements. If anyone's interested, I'll put the actual measurements in a comment. So that is the Sopranissimo unbranded. If you search for pocket ukulele online, you might find it that way. That's how I was able to find it. I stumbled upon it quite luckily. So now I will be converting this into a piccolo mandolin. So if you are interested in that journey, feel free to please subscribe. But I'm not a YouTube channel. I'm just a guy that likes to share projects and music with people. And again, apologies if I missed your comments in the past month or two. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. All right, come back home again soon. We'll see you around. Take care. Thanks for watching.